Nigeria Info 99.3 Lagos. Good morning to you. Welcome to the second part of Dailies today. For this morning, I am Sheriff Quadry.
And I'm Jimi. Disu. Good morning.
You can watch us live on Facebook and on YouTube. We're streaming live on those two platforms. You know how we do it. But if you have not joined us before, please do join us on those two platforms because engagements are quite heavy on those two platforms anytime we bring stories up in here on the show, so you can engage others as you watch and listen to us as well. Nigeria Info 99.3 is how you can be a part of it. Let's start this morning from page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper. The story reads, "Will maintain petrol price without subsidy reversal." Tinubu.
Maybe I should do it the way Baba did it at ECOWAS. Subsidy is back.
No,
That's the implication. In all honesty, that's the implication of what we have on hand. Okay, most of you have heard what has happened. The president has given an assurance that there is no way prices of fuel are going to go up, and market forces are indicating or showing that they jolly well could go up. So it means that somewhere along the line we are going to hedge. So, which leads me to what I was bantering with Sheriff about this morning. If we saw this day coming, why didn't we then? Well, I think it's a bit late in the day. Admit that there must be some kind of subsidy. You can't leave things to market forces. I like the tone of our jury yesterday in Gelale. It's a fresh breath in terms of government press interaction so far. It's a bit of a we used to have, which he said, of course, would not exist. And I saw countries whose fuel are more expensive. You must put it in context. In the first instance, are they oil-producing countries? But even if you're not just going to end there, what kind of a legislative regime do they have? Do their barbers need fuel? Do their hairdressers need fuel? Because when we talk PMS, people always look at the issue of vehicles. You need to ask yourself, what kind of public transportation do they have? If I was in the UK and fuel ballooned 50 times over, it's none of my business because I always have the trains to go on. I have the buses to go on, So we need to put these things in context and don't let government people use figures to dabaru our heads and dabaru our minds. There must be something called comparative advantage if you produce a product from our soil. Okay? And so the question you would have asked is, okay, so had our refineries been working, Warri, Kaduna, Port Harcourt, and okay, no, we don't have Lagos said, but had even the three we had been working, we won't be talking of importation. The boogie, the dark monster in the petrol regime is that of importation. So if we're producing locally, then so be it. We must enjoy something in this country, for God's sake, and we will not take excuses. The fathers of this country who decided to set up refineries in Kaduna, in Warri, and in Port Harcourt were not stupid. They wanted us to be self-sufficient, but are indisciplined. So now that the president has gone back now that we know we are back to subsidy, why don't we see if we can retrace our steps further to stabilize the country and stabilize the economy? Why don't we look at other options? These market forces, in quotes, is the silliest thing I ever saw because it's just indiscipline. You're talking of market forces of importing when you produce the thing locally, and till date, nobody has been held responsible for our refineries being down. Nobody has told us how much has been spent on allocations to the refineries. Kaduna refinery has been down for only God knows how long. Have they been collecting salaries, leave allowance, bonuses, grants? We're such a wasteful country. The president needs to take the bull by the horn. As you're trying reforms, you must go after those who have put us in this mess. You must. He cannot run away from it. You must go. I know some of them are his friends and associates. Too bad. Some of them probably contributed to his campaign. Too bad. The president must stand up as the president of the people, not the president of his supporters, not the president of his financiers. Because if he doesn't do it, somebody else will at some point. And it will not be palatable. It's just a prediction. I don't know anything. Not that I have any information, but it's just to advise him. that in the first instance he will not be there forever anyway. And the more you leave it, and the more things going on the downward trend, people are going to be looking at, because we know them. Nigerians know some of these people who are involved in this subsidy racket. We know them. Tunde Bakari virtually scattered around naming one or two. So we know them. We know those who use their big boys and luxury vehicles and yachts and so. Some of us know them. We grew up with them. You youngsters might not know. Some of us know them from way back when they were sitting in the receptions of their father's industries with nothing in the pocket, begging for money. And overnight they become superstars. We know them. The president must go after them. These people have put us into abject poverty. They've ruined all of us. But anyway, before I go back to the issue, is that the president has assured you, he hasn't said at what cost, but that the prices will not go up. I wish he also had an assurance that the prices will go down. My feeling would be from a common citizen standpoint is that now that we are back to the subsidy regime, don't let's slip into it. Let us admit that there's a subsidy, to be put in place. Let us do it the proper manner and then see if we can even go further down. And let us look at other ways of importing fuel. I remember in the days of David West, I think we heard of government-to-government purchase. We give them crude, they give us refined. Let us look at other options, for God's sake. But most importantly, my feeling this morning and my advice is that the president must be ready to sacrifice his friends. If he doesn't do so,
let me chip in something. Before this president came on board, President Jonathan did put up a panel that looked into the subsidy regime, and some people were found. Bola Tinubu was not the president at the time.
Yes.
So why didn't Jonathan prosecute them?
He's not
why,
there.
Why didn't Buhari prosecute them?
He's not there again. He's there now. That's what it is.
So I'm trying to say that what if they are not his friends? What if, what happened to other presidents, especially those that investigated these people, came up with a report? Why didn't they go after those people when they had the chance? I mean, they had the evidence, they had everything to go after these people.
You see, both the ones before who didn't, and if he too doesn't, there'll be judgment day that won't be palatable for any of them.
And I'm really concerned as to why we cannot have a functioning refinery. One functioning
not
refinery.
Not one functioning refinery we can't have. And as to the issue,
that's so shameful.
As to the issue of his friends, when I say his friends, it's not as if I know them, they're his personal friends. They are the elite. Why are you running away from that? Why do you think you have so much money thrown away at parties, at this and that?
Lose money
everywhere. That's where the money is. Our boys not checking in now. That's where you get
lose money anywhere.
Money like that,
company will just spring up from nowhere, and before you know it, they are major sponsor of this, major sponsor of that. They have this, they have that.
All the boys in the lounges and all the boys who will now come and tell you my corporate story. I want to empower the youth, give them a feedback. I've told my own children, don't copy these people. Don't believe. You know they appear to be successful, but we know about how you can go legit from criminality. Let's leave that one. But it is difficult for you to tell me, Sheriff, that the government in question now, including the president, will not know one person that was involved in that subsidy racket.
The report is still with the government.
Minus report, even since the report. I would have expected by now the president would have called the DSS, whatever, constitute a committee, go and find me the people who put us in this mess.
I'm waiting for that president. I'm waiting for the president that would do that.
Look,
I'm waiting for that person.
You know how much it costs to go into politics.
That's why I said I'm waiting for that president. I'm waiting.
We are the same
I want to see that person that will say, I'm now the president, so I'm coming after everybody that has contributed to the situation of Nigeria today.
You know how much nobody puts his hard-earned money in politics in Nigeria. Nobody puts his hard-earned money. It's either you use other people's money or money you have stolen. QED. Next story.
Let's go. Let's go.
I want to throw you under the bus, though.
Okay.
I have to throw you under the bus a bit. Supposing it was another president that we had of the other two, do you think they would have gone the same path with this gentleman?
So I saw an interview yesterday of
Yes.
some. I think it was it Shim or I can't remember now.
Yeah.
And the person was saying that most of them didn't expect that the president was going to toe this path, that they expected more and everything. And I was telling the person we're watching this thing, I said, look,
Who is that person?
this
That was
is,
late in the night.
and don't worry.
Okay.
Don't worry.
I just wanted to be sure. I was just,
Wanted to be sure about what? Why you distracting me? I'm
okay.
saying,
Sorry. Excuse me. Pardon.
Nibo. And I was saying that, look at what this man is saying, It's the same thing anybody would say if anyone else had been the president.
Oh, I mean, anyone else, to be honest.
Because I would find it so strange that anybody would think, especially those that know, would think that someone can just come with a magic wand and make all our problems disappear.
The forces would be very strong, especially if such a person is in a position that can be blackmailed.
Hey.
That is heavy.
Who black me?
It's on. So that is why it is going to be very tough to get a president who can lead us on the right path.
It's awful.
Unless you get this thing from back.
It's awful.
Okay, let's go.
Let's move on to our next story. Daily Trust this time, page 4. Families cry out as food prices hit rooftop.
The story speaks for itself. I don't need to go any further. Let me just quickly go through the reports. We've wasted a bit of time here. The story says that families in Nigeria are passing through difficult times. I'm sure all of us are, except, of course, the 61%ers, probably the ones who are finding nice life. And findings at various markets across the country show that prices of rice, beans, garri, flour, and sugar, amongst others, are rising on a weekly basis. It talks about spaghetti. Crown spaghetti sold for 5,000, but hit 5,500 in March, 5,550 in April, and 570 in May. Sugar. Dangote sugar in February was 29,000, 32,000 in March, 32,300 in April, 37,800 in July, 42,200 at present. Flour. Price of golden penny flour was 27,000 in February, 28,300 in March, 28,500 in April, 28,500 in June, 31,200 at present. Abdurrahman Lawal, a farmer, a trader and father of many children in Zaria, who called for intervention through a price regulatory agency, said he now focused on essential demand. Listen to what a fellow Nigerian has said. He said, food has become a sacred commodity now. I'm no longer concerned about children's school fees. We get 1 meal a day for the family. We just thank God. In my house now, we boil sweet potatoes because it doesn't require any ingredients to cook. Maize is out of my reach and rich and poor families, let alone rice and beans, and so on and so forth. It covers everywhere. Situations in Southwest, Southeast, South, just as bad. Mrs. Ibiyemi, a rice seller at Bodija, Ibadan, said a bag of rice, which sold for between 27 and 28 in February, was now 45,000 and above. A bag of beans, which sold for 37,000 in February, is now 47,000. A medium-sized tuber of yam, hitherto sold in the range of 700 and 800, now costs between 1,200 and 1,500. Another one, I bought yam last week. A loaf of bread sold for 600 is now 800 and 1,000. A crate of eggs, 1,200 to 2,500, and so on and so forth. This is a story I think you must read to get a feel of what's going on. And so it's from the Trust, and it says, families cry out as food prices hit the roof.
It's unfortunate, really. Let's go take the punch. 7:46 now. 6.9 billion naira procurement fraud. Federal government arraigns Emefiele allies Thursday.
And now this Emefiele thing is becoming an embarrassment. If it is because of this arraignment that you have held the man in spite of bail for so long, let the DSS come out clean and tell us what they're investigating, for God's sake. Because you're going to turn the matter into a political matter, and people always sympathize with the underdog. They always do. Because this a charge that carries 5-year imprisonment, and it's more of an EFCC matter than a DSS matter. How himself and his associates cornered some contracts and some things like that. I don't let's go into the details because I don't think it's of any.
Yeah.
Anyway, the truth is that you want to hold him, you can't find a proper charge to keep him.
Yeah. Before we go into the Metro page, let's look at this panorama page of the Punch newspaper. Ishashe police take sides as Ilorin traditionalists battle for survival.
This Quadry situation is not going to go away. And it's not going to go away for me because we are battling for our survival as Africans. This attitude of, this attitude that we have, that things that are our own are not good enough, has gone completely. Do you know, over the weekend, I saw a video of traditional rulers at some revival. They formed themselves into a choir.
Yeah.
And for me, it just didn't look right. It just didn't sound right. For me, it's very clear. I'm not into competitiveness of religions. But for God's sake, if you are the custodian of our religious and cultural practices, if you want to become a Christian, would you please just leave the throne for somebody else? The symbolism is not good at all. And if you look at the international front, Africans are being revved up now to be proud of their origins, because we've been hard for so long by the imperialists. We've been hard. The conspiracies that have taken place from the West are now being blown open. You now see that religion was used, as a weapon to keep us down for so long. These so-called aids and grants and various World Health Organization, all these things were done apparently to keep Africa down. Okay? Because the major minerals of the world are here. I mean, what an irony. That's what's going on in Niger. So at that point in time, if we now have where some people believe they want to impose a religion that is quote and unquote even slightly foreign to us here, then we must have a second thinking. We must be able to tolerate ourselves. And for those who are once you say that you are a custodian of our cultural and religious practices, can you please just, if you want to go to the church or mosque, please just step down. Now, the issue that you have in Ilorin now, sorry, I know that's your area. You better not talk about it.
No.
Leave me to do
It's
the
okay.
rest.
It's okay.
The traditionalists want to have a festival in Ilorin. And then the emir says they can't. Under what power? And the governor's quiet. That's the bottom line of this crisis. That's the bottom line. And because we don't have time, I would have loved to read the various perspectives that have happened. But the truth is that we must learn to tolerate ourselves. As long as the Sheshe people didn't say they want to hold it in the mosque compulsorily or into your own religious sites. Let's say, okay, you have carved out a place that, for yourself, you've bought, like the churches redeemed and so have carved out a place for themselves. Once they say they're going to have it anywhere in the city, somebody described Ilorin as an Islamic city. I want to ask a comment. I refuse to believe there are churches there. It can't be an Islamic.
Oh, yes,
city.
of course. I have, Christian friends.
Just loads of them. Anyway, that's the crisis going on. We have a problem. I'm looking at this thing from a Pan-Africanist perspective. It's nothing personal. I'm a Christian. Let me quickly clear that. I'm glad to be one. But I'm also part of those who believe that Africans must revive themselves or forever be downtrodden on. A lot of our leaders have sold us for a bowl of porridge. But that's another story entirely. Let's go straight to the, what do you call it now? The news that you have. Motorists lament indiscriminate parking of trucks on Lagos Island, on Lagos roads. So that's they're everywhere. We've learned to live with it. Our government cannot do anything about it, so we just learn to live with it. Also, I don't know if you've been following the Unicar crisis, where the Faculty of Law, the female students they're talking about sexual harassment. I've been involved. I was telling Philip this morning. I've been involved in this fight right from when I was in university. There were some notorious ones as I was in uni. Like, remember in those days, there were no phones or anything. There was a notorious one in, I think, the Department of Medicine back in the day, in UI in those days. He frustrated so many people. So there's a fight against the lecturer. I think the lecturer should go look for work somewhere else. Man arraigned for threatening chief family members with machete. And what do we have here? Aha! This is very important. Lagos State government on Tuesday has issued a fresh flood alert to residents of some parts of the state. There is going to be heavy floods. Now you can hear residents of Apapa, Badagry, Etiosa, Ikeja, Ikorodu, Ikoyi, Lagos Island, and Ojo should prepare for very heavy rainfalls, which may result in flash flooding. What is flash flooding?
Come on, Wani.
Does it come? Okay. Our senior colleague who passed away a long time ago, 10 years ago, is being remembered, Chief Shodiran Shuwemimo. And also 1 year anniversary of Chief Duro Onobule. And so in the trust, Northern paper, in the trust, what do we have? Man 55 reprimanded for raping, infecting primary one pupil in Niger. Oh my God. 71-year-old woman beaten to pulp over witchcraft. There you go. Kano women you celebrate IYD with success stories. 2 held over burgling theft of 8 million chicken in Ogun factory. Jeff factory Baba Coin. Is it Baba's factory? Nobody can even go into Baba's factory. When you get there, you think that you've forgotten your change with the conductor and go back. You won't go in. By the way, happy birthday to Herbert Wigwe. I think he's 57 today.
Oh, okay.
The
Happy
MD
birthday,
of,
boss.
Access Bank.
Yeah. Let's go to the Punch, page 10. This story says, Atiku attacks Tinubu as agency destroys billboards.
I beg to differ with Atiku. That billboard was irresponsible.
That's what I'm actually treating as.
I heard you this morning.
That's what, yeah.
That billboard was irresponsible. You don't put the judiciary on that.
You think so?
Yes. How can you put billboard of eyes on the? It's a threat.
Oh.
Yes, eyes on the judiciary. It's a subtle threat in billboard. The government was right in doing it. It's a subtle threat. I mean, come on. A case is in court. Okay, why don't we be patient and let the case go through? It's a threat to the judges now. When you say, what do you mean? I'm about to determine a case. As I'm driving to work, I see a billboard.
Yeah.
All eyes on the judiciary, and you think I won't feel intimidated. It's a threat. It is a threat. So I agree with I agree with the pulling down. The further punishment maybe not, but the government was right in asking that billboard to be pulled down. It is a threat. It's unacceptable. Well, whatever purpose we might think it is to serve, you cannot put the judiciary publicly so more so. I can't even say generally. I have to have a tone before I would say all eyes are on the judiciary. It will have to be with a tone. Maybe in discussions I can say, well, we look up to the judiciary, all eyes are on them. But if I start putting up posters, or if I come to the studio and say, hey, Sheriff, all eyes are on the judiciary, then it becomes a subtle threat. We must have a responsible society. Whatever things we think, whatever the background, we must always think that, okay, we will still need a society that recognizes the rule of law. I believe very strongly. I support the government 100% in bringing down that billboard.
Right.
And yes, the agency that approved that should have questions to answer. As far as I'm concerned, it's a threat.
Oh, okay. All right.
What do you think?
We'll discuss that because I'm discussing it at 8 o'clock.
No, it doesn't make it's not.
I cannot. Because I'm hosting this show, I cannot.
You can.
I cannot share my thoughts.
It is why
I cannot share my thoughts on that story. We'll talk about it at 8 o'clock. We'll do that.
Okay, what's your perspective?
No perspective. Respectfully, sir. We have to go.
All right.
Thank you so much for coming, sir.
I'm defeated.
No, you're not. You don't give up if I know you very. Tomorrow you will see. Thank you so much.
I just call you.
Okay. We have to go now, Lagos. Thank you for being a part. But stay here. Thank you so much, sir, for coming.
Yes,
we'll bring you the news now. After the news, then we'll talk about this billboard matter. Huh?
Whenever I tell people I'm a full-time master student and a content creator, they go, huh? How are you able to do both all at once? You bewitch? No be juju. Na MTN 5G. ever since 5G came into my life, I've been on cloud 9. I get to take my classes online in real time and upload my
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens.